Right, so 2014 is a World Cup year. This happens every 4 years and something I'm really, really excited about. I've got the boys coming around. I'm just gonna cook them something very, very simple just to sort of line our stomachs. So what I'm gonna make is I'm gonna make a buttermilk fried chicken, really sort of nice and soft and crispy on the outside. I'm also gonna make stuffed potato skins, but instead of doing it with just cheese and bacon, I'm gonna caramelize some onions. I'm gonna get some bacon in there, a little bit of cheddar, and then just a little bit of blue cheese on top just to sort of give it a little bit of saltiness. And then I'm also going to make gyoza from scratch. I'm gonna show you how to make the pastry and then the filling. I'm gonna show you how easy it really is. So I'll just finish this and then we'll get cracking. Okay, so for the buttermilk fried chicken, buttermilk is very, very difficult to find here in the Philippines. So what I do is I make my own buttermilk. It's very, very simple, and it is pretty much as close to buttermilk as you are gonna get. When you make butter, you really whip the cream until it turns into butter. Then the liquid that's left underneath, that is called buttermilk. It's very, very simple. It is just milk and then just a little bit of vinegar. And what the vinegar is going to do is it's going to curdle the milk just a little bit. 1 teaspoon is enough to curdle all of this. And if you look over there, you can see as soon as the vinegar goes in, it's going to make the milk just a little bit thicker. And if I stir it like that, you can see the consistency has changed straight away. Okay, so that milk is curdling very, very nicely. So what we're going to do is we're going to add just a little bit of flavor into this. I'm going to add maybe about a teaspoon of cumin seed, just to give it that sort of fried chicken flavor. And then I'm gonna add some Spanish paprika. Okay, so now we've got our spices in. The milk is just a little bit thicker. Now it's time to add our chicken. Okay, so we just want to separate the thigh and the leg. And there's a joint over there. And we're just going to sort of cut through it and then just take the chicken and we're just going to sort of leave it inside the buttermilk that we flavored with Spanish paprika and cumin. So once this is all marinated, everything is in, try and marinate it overnight. So that goes in there. Just really push everything down. So that can go in the fridge. Overnight, we can marinate it. I already have one marinated from the night before, so we'll get cracking on this. Okay, so this is the chicken that's been marinating overnight. And you can see how really nice and thick that milk has become. We just have to get this out and then just leave it to drip on a rack. Okay, so we can now leave the chicken to the side and we'll do the flour mix. I just get regular flour, and we're probably looking at about 2 cups of regular flour. Just goes into the bag like that. Then we're looking at maybe a cup of cornstarch, in that goes. Then onion powder, garlic powder, then Spanish paprika again inside. That's just going to give it a little smokiness, and then cumin seed. Okay, And then just for a little bit of heat, I don't want it too hot. I just want people to know that there is a little bit of spice in there. I'm just gonna add some cayenne pepper. I'm just gonna put maybe half a teaspoon in there. So it's as simple as resealing it now and then just sort of giving it a shake like that. Okay? And that's now ready. We now just need to pat these dry just a little bit. Now just paper towel. We just want to get rid of a little bit of the excess buttermilk. We don't want it too dry because we need the flour and the spices to sort of stick to the chicken. And now it's as simple as just putting the chicken inside the bag like that. And now we just give it a shake. And that's gonna coat everything really nice and evenly. And we can actually leave that in there for about 5 to 8 minutes. Okay, so after shaking it for a couple of minutes, it's now time to get them frying. Okay, so what I like to do now is I like to get just sort of 1 clove of garlic in, and that is gonna tell me whether the oil is hot enough or not. When you start seeing little bubbles come from the outside of the piece of garlic, you know your oil is the right temperature, because if it's too high, your chicken's gonna brown on the outside and it's gonna be raw in the middle. If your oil is too low, your fried chicken is just gonna end up really sort of soggy and greasy. I'm just gonna throw in a couple more pieces of garlic, and that is just gonna flavor the oil, make it a really nice sort of garlicky flavor. Okay, so now that the chicken is sort of really nice and crispy and golden brown on the outside, I'm just gonna sort of take them out and leave them on paper towel just to sort of absorb all the excess oil. Okay, so next I'm going to get the dough on for the gyoza. So it's 300 grams of flour. We're gonna add about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Okay, so that's come together nicely, just like that. Now it's time to get some elbow grease in there. We're just gonna work this now until it's cooled down a little bit and it's turned to a sort of really nice, smooth consistency. Okay, so now that we have a really nice sort of smooth dough, what I'm going to do now is I'm just gonna cut it in half like that. And then I'm gonna shape it, and then I'm gonna turn it into a donut shape, just so that I get even pieces. Really get them all sort of roughly the same size around there. Once we got that done, just wrap them up in a little bit of plastic wrap, and we're just gonna leave them here for 10 minutes, just for them to relax, and they will be easier to sort of handle. We'll then get our filling ready. Okay, so with the ground pork shoulder, it's a perfect sort of cut. It's got the right amount of fat. It's really nice sort of red meat. In this, we're going to put 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, and that is just gonna help firm everything up inside. And then 1 teaspoon of baking soda. The baking soda is just gonna help sort of break down all of the fibers inside the meat. And that's gonna keep it really nice and tender. We're just gonna stir that around. Nice. Good quality of that. Okay, so after I've actually snapped the spatula in half, we now have to carry on and fold in all of those flavors in together. And now we're just gonna add chopped chives and then very finely sliced white cabbage. Okay, so now that we've got all of those flavors sort of mixed together, I'm now just gonna add about 1/4 teaspoon of wasabi powder and just work these together, and then we can wrap this up, put it in the fridge, and then concentrate on our dough. Now the gyoza dough has been sitting here for 20 minutes while we were making the filling. Now it's time to cut them and shape them. So we'll just get a very lightly floured surface, take our cutters, and we'll cut it straight in half like that. So now we're just gonna roll them round like this, and then get a little rolling pin like this, and then just roll them out. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the sheet here, very nice and thin, put that in our hand. We are going to get a little bit of filling like that. We're then just going to close it, and then we are just going to fold it like so, there, and fold it back. There we go. And just make sure the ends are pinched together nicely. And then we just carry on and do the rest. Okay, so now that we've finished like sort of shaping a man-sized gyoza, it's now time for us to get a frying pan on, get it really nice and hot, and we're just gonna fry the bottom side just until it's really nice and brown. Okay, so for the next dish I'm gonna make, I'm going to do stuffed potato skins. The first thing we have to do is we have to get these potatoes roasted. And they are gonna take about an hour. So we really need to get them on. So the first thing we have to do is we just have to get a fork, and we just have to press all around. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna stop the potato from bursting and actually crack the skin, because we need to keep the skin intact. Okay, now we're gonna add salt and then some extra virgin olive oil. So I've got the oven preheated at about 180, 190 degrees. It's gonna take at least an hour. Okay, so to get the stuffing for our potato skins ready, we've sliced up some bacon, and we're just gonna fry the bacon off until they're really nice and crispy, and then we're gonna take them out and then fry the onions in the actual bacon fat. So we're incorporating the bacon flavor throughout. Okay, so we're just gonna get the bacon really nice and crispy. It's gonna bleed out its fat, and then we're gonna add the sliced white onions. We're just gonna cook them on a low heat just until they become really sort of nice and sweet. That is gonna be the base for our crispy potato skin stuffing. Okay, so now that the bacon is all really nice and crispy, we've got a lot of the fat that's come out of it. We're just gonna put a little bit of the fat back, and we're gonna put the onions inside. We're gonna turn the heat right down, and the onions are really gonna pick up all of those caramelized bits. Okay, so these potatoes are now really sort of nice and soft. The skin is really, really crispy, and these are now ready to cut and to stuff. We're just gonna turn them on their side like that, and we're just gonna cut them through just like that. We just take a little teaspoon and we scrape out just a little bit of the inside, just enough for us to put a filling in. So now that we've taken out most of the centers, we still need to get this really, really crispy. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna get some extra virgin olive oil and a pastry brush. Okay, so now that we've brushed them with olive oil, it's now time to put them inside the toaster oven just to get them really, really nice and crispy. Okay, so now that these onions have sort of cooked down for at least an hour, they're really sort of nice and soft. They've soaked up all of that bacon, and that's gonna work perfectly with our potatoes. Right, so these potato skins have just come out of the oven, and they are really, really crispy. So we just have to now start filling it up. And we've got cheddar cheese, some jalapeno peppers, blue cheese, and then our onion and bacon mixture. So we're just gonna add one of these jalapeno peppers. And then on top of that goes the caramelized onions and the bacon. We just wanna get them in and flattened out like that. Okay, so after the caramelized onions and the bacon have gone in, we're just gonna put a little bit of cheddar on top. And then we're just gonna add a little bit of this crumbled blue cheese. Okay, so now we're just gonna put them back into the oven. We just want the cheese to melt and just sort of bubble and become really sort of nice and gooey. We'll finish it off with sour cream, chopped chives, and that's done. Right, boys, the food's here. Look at that, huh? There you go. Big games tonight, huh?
Nice.
We'll have a couple of bites to eat, and then we'll head out.
Thanks for having us over. Cheers.
You're welcome. Cheers, boys.
Good food, good games.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So here we have potato skin, really nice and crispy, and inside caramelized onions, bacon, and then blue cheese and cheddar. And then there is a gyoza, and then ground pork, soy sauce, sesame oil, white cabbage. Boom, done.
Sounds good.
Let's go. Yeah. Right, guys, here's the fried chicken. Buttermilk fried chicken. Has been soaking in buttermilk for overnight. It's really nice and crispy. All right, guys, cheers.
All right, cheers.
It's a good game tonight, huh?
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, no worries. Next week, I'll have time to prepare an all-veggie meal for my family. It's times like this that I make sure my kids get to have the proper nutrition they need. To get the recipes from the show, check out my website, markettomaster.com. And if you want to see behind the scenes and latest updates, follow us on Facebook and Twitter.